making up for lost time.
All right, places, people, places. We gotta get through this scene.
Hold on there, hold on. Mia's has got the question.
Mondo, what is it?
Well, you see, me really not sure what me motivation is supposed to be in this scene.
You don't need a motivation, Mondo. You're a sea monster. Just act like a monster.
Okay, fine, whatever that means.
Okay, are we ready? And action!
No, McLean, I really don't think Yetis really works as a sports team name. I mean, it isn't the plural of Yeti. Hey, what the heck?
Cut! You guys just walked into the middle of a hot set. What are you doing?
Lenny, what are you doing? This is our recording studio. Why is there sand everywhere?
We're shooting the big reveal scene where the sea monster walks out of the water. Now quiet, we're behind schedule as it is.
Whoa. Sea monster? Lenny, what in the world is going on here?
What's going on is we're creating very low-budget, profitable, disposable art. We're making movies here. We're telling stories, all while operating on the lowest budget possible.
You're making movies?
You bet.
Why?
Like all great artists, I was struck with inspiration. You see, there I was one night, watching TV while falling into a stupor, when suddenly they started playing old science fiction movies from the 50s.
Okay, and you were inspired by how great they were?
No, they're terrible. They were the cheesiest, low-effort movies I've ever seen. Rubber masks, zero acting, and all only an hour long. And so I realized, if they could make terrible movies, why can't I do the same thing?
I'm with you, Lenny. I believe you can make terrible movies.
Thanks.
Well, I'm glad you found your artistic calling, Lenny, but unfortunately, this is our recording studio, and I'm going to kick you out now.
Whoa, not so fast. I signed a contract with your producer to rent this studio space all day.
Yeah, of course you did.
Yep, I figure if we hurry, we can get a dozen or so movies finished before lunchtime.
Hey, what the big holdup over here? This rubber monster suit it's really making me sweat. It's just not a comfortable time in here.
Don't worry, Mondo. We're getting back on track right now. Just need our studio audience to quiet down.
Mondo, how did Lenny talk you into this?
Well, really, it's a collaborative effort, see, because this really allows me to explore me creativity. See, me has always wanted to inhabit a character and really explore the inner workings of their psyche, you know. Me is able to learn more about myself by exploring someone else, even if that someone else is a sea monster.
That's beautiful, Mondo. Now get back into position so we can finish filming the Fishman or Horror Beach. We gotta wrap this up quick so we can spend the rest of the afternoon filming Martian Stole My Brain.
Okay, fine, but me really is sweating like a stuck pig in this thing.
This is ridiculous.
Shh, quiet, Jake. Art is being created.
All right, well, while Lenny wastes more celluloid, here's the first half of our show. We are delving today into a genre we have not previously touched on this program, and that is science fiction in old-time radio. And so, first up, we have an episode of Dimension X.
Hush up, you'll ruin the scene.
Adventures in time and space, transcribed in future tense.
Dimension X.
Can you predict what will come in 100 years, or in 10, or in the next minute? Some people think they can. Nuclear science, mathematicians, astronomers, biologists. They'll predict the shape of the future because they make the future, because they see beyond the known dimensions of time and space into the unknown, Dimension X. We go ahead now in time to 1965. We're on a vast concrete runway set in the desert of the Southwest. A giant metal ship stands before us, prow pointed for the stars. And in 5 minutes, the signal will flash, and it will tear up through the atmosphere to the outer limits.
Attention. Clear field for takeoff. Clear field.
5 minutes, Steve.
For takeoff.
Warmer up, Charlie.
I want to go over procedure again, Steve.
Don't worry, I got it straight.
We'll just make sure.
Okay. I take her up on jets to 50,000, then I cut in the rocket.
No lower, or your tail blast will burn out 3 counties.
I climb 4 minutes on rockets, then start maneuver tests.
Remember that, no more than 4 minutes.
Right.
This ship isn't like those strata rockets you've been testing. She's the first one built for outer space. If she works, she can go clear to the moon.
If I'd have known that, I'd have brought my toothbrush.
No, not this trip. Now get this, Steve. You've got power there to clear the Earth's gravitational field. But remember, after you cut in the rockets, you've only got 10 minutes fuel. If you go beyond the outer limit and don't save fuel for the return...
I know, I won't get down again.
That's right, Steve. You'll drift off into space. Get that now. 10 minutes fuel.
Gotcha.
Now, as far as I'm concerned, this project is a lot more important than that cosmic ray bomb they're testing out in the Pacific tonight.
Well, the Security Commission brass doesn't think so. I don't see any undersecretaries under anything.
Don't worry. In the long run, our ship will make the CR bomb back-page stuff. But in the meantime, it's just as dangerous. Remember, half the principles in this ship are pure theory, Steve. Slide rule stuff. If anything goes wrong, we may have to scrape you off the landscape with a soup spoon.
You have a charming sense of humor.
Now, here's what I'm getting at. We're risking your neck in this test. If anything blows, we don't want to have the next man pull the same boner.
I know, Hank.
So keep your mic open and keep talking. If anything goes wrong, we want to know exactly why. And we won't be able to ask you. Let us know before you pull every switch. Before you do anything. You got that?
Yeah.
Even if you only have to blow your nose.
All right, get those fuel lines away.
Okay, Mr. Crow.
Well, I guess that's about all, Steve.
That reminds me. Look, if Mary calls, I'm just up on a milk run. I didn't tell her today was it.
How is she?
She's okay, but she's due about now, and I don't want her to be nervous.
Hey, I didn't know the baby was that close.
Yeah?
Steve, I really ought to be sending a single man on this job.
What, and cut me out of a soft paycheck? Forget it, Hank. You know you can't get anybody else who can take 15 G's acceleration when those rockets cut in.
Yeah, I know. It's time, Steve.
Yeah. Well, see you later. Don't worry, Hank. I'll sweat for both of us. Button her up, Charlie. So long, Hank.
So long. We'll give you the light from control. Okay, Steve. Got you on the speaker. I'm ready to go.
Mr. Hanson.
Ready on radar, Sergeant?
Mr. Hanson, you better see this.
What is it, Elsa?
Message center for Steve. Mrs. Weston just left for the hospital.
What? Hello, Steve.
Yeah.
Stand by a minute.
Shall we hold the takeoff, Mr. Hanson?
What? Oh, yes. No, wait just a minute. It's too late now.
You going to tell him?
Maybe he's got enough to worry about.
Hey, what's holding us up, Hank? Something on your mind?
No, it's nothing, Steve. I just wanted to say good luck. Clear for takeoff, Charlie?
Right.
Okay. Give him the light. All right, Steve, I'm reading you clear.
20,000. Airspeed 600. She's running fine. Soundproofing works. There's a third-degree waiver in the AGY pressure.
Got that, Charlie?
Check. Dead center on radar, Mr. Hanson.
50,000 now. Cutting out the port jet. Now the starboard. Off jet. Airspeed dropping. Opening the rocket port. Switch sticks a little, Charlie. Oxy alcohol pressure at 350. All right, now I'm advancing the ignition key. Here goes rocket one.
Steve, you all right?
Yeah. Looks like somebody smugged me with a sledgehammer. Airspeed now 1,200. Here goes number two.
Hello, Steve. Elapsed rocket time is now 4 minutes. What's your altitude? Over to you.
Speed 4,400. Still climbing. Altitude 297 miles.
All right, you're at the outer limit. Level off for maneuver test. You've got exactly 6 minutes fuel left.
Okay. Starting a 3-degree left bank. a little sluggish. There, it's all right now. There's a low vibration someplace. Maybe the cockpit hatch. Now I'm straightening out.
5 minutes fuel left.
Now I'm starting a 3-degree... Hey!
What's the matter? What's wrong?
There's something up here. Something shining.
What are you talking about?
Something above me, Hank. I'm going to chase it.
Steve, you're at the outer limit now.
I can see it plain now.
Steve, don't go any higher. You've only got 4 minutes left. You've only got...
Getting static. I can't hear you, Hank. It's dead ahead now. I'm going to make a pass at it. Get a good look. Hey, it's swerving to meet me. It's dead ahead now. It's dead ahead.
Hello, Steve. Steve, come in.
9 minutes fuel gone.
Still no sign on radar.
Hello, Steve. Steve, what's happened? Charlie, get out the crash squad. Tell the Army squadron to alert their search planes.
Right.
9.5 minutes gone.
Hello, Steve.
Squadron.
What's happened? Where the devil is it?
Charlie,
Hello.
for Mr. Hanson.
Come in, Steve.
We need a search squadron.
Come in.
No, Mr. Hanson's busy.
Hello, Steve. Hello, Steve.
10 minutes, Mr. Hanson. That's the end of his fuel.
How long's it been now?
10 hours, Mr. Hanson.
Nothing more on radar, Sergeant?
Screen's blank.
Colonel Corelli called in. Search planes are back. They didn't find anything.
Should be some trace.
He couldn't have bailed out, could he?
You don't hit the silk at 4,400 miles an hour. Either went past the outer limit, ran out of fuel. Something blew, and we'll find the pieces scattered from here to the coast. Why does it have to be the best men? Always the best men.
I'll get it. Control.
Charlie, we've got to figure out what was wrong.
All right, I'll tell him.
Something must have blown.
Yeah. There's a message from Northside Hospital for Steve.
Oh, what is it?
Mrs. Weston's fine. It's a boy.
Thank you, Elsie. It's a boy, Charlie.
Oh.
Fine. It's a boy. He didn't even know she went to the hospital. How am I going to tell Mary that?
Wasn't your fault, Mr. Hanson. Ship had to be tested.
Yeah, we'll build another one, and some other flying fool will shoot past the outer limit into space. Oh, I'm getting old, Charlie. You can remember when I used to take them up myself. Now I've got to send other men.
It's a job, Mr. Hanson.
Now I'm afraid. Every time I hear a jet go off, I jump. Every time I have to send someone up in a new model, I start to sweat.
Mr. Hanson.
Yeah?
I think there's something on the radar.
No flights scheduled in, are there, Elsie?
We have the whole day cleared.
It's coming in behind us. Here it comes over the building.
What crazy jockey is buzzing the field like that? Is that an Army plane, Charlie?
I can't see. It's turning.
Charlie, alert the field.
I know that engine. Steve!
That's impossible.
Look, that's his ship.
It can't be.
Well, there's no other model like that. It's Steve, all right. It's coming in.
Thank God. Thank God. All right, sit down, Steve. The quicker we get this done, the quicker you get over to see Mary and the baby.
Hank.
Elsie, give the order to check and refuel the rockets. I don't want anybody in here till I get Steve's reports. Bury any calls. All right, let's have it. What the devil happened to you?
Hank, does that cosmic ray bomb still go off tonight?
What are you talking about? Straighten out, Steve. Where you been for the last 10 hours?
Listen, Hank, there's something more important.
Come on. I've got to get a report on the screen to Washington, so let's have it. I've got to know how you stretched 10 minutes fuel to keep you in the air for 10 hours.
Now, one thing before I talk.
Look,
have the
Steve.
Geiger men run over the ship before they refuel.
What'd you run into?
So help me, Hank, I don't know. But we better check and make sure it isn't radioactive.
Elsie, add a Geiger report on the standard check. Steve, maybe we better have the doc look you over, too.
No, I'll be all right. They said I'd be all right.
They? Look, son, I know you've had a tough time, but we've had this field on the alert for 10 hours. One of the Army boys cracked up looking for you, and he's hurt bad. So let's have the story. Let's have it straight.
I don't know how to tell you. Hank, I saw something up there.
At 300 miles?
I chased something up there, Hank, and I caught it.
Now, don't hand me that,
Listen.
Steve.
I was cruising along, just starting the right bank, when I spotted something. It must have been going about half my speed. It was egg-shaped and smooth. I made a pass at it, and I was coming back for another, and then there was a humming sound.
Humming?
A sort of vibration. And I blacked out. I was headed straight for it at 4,400 miles an hour. I thought it was going to be the biggest smash since Hiroshima, and I guess they were drinking that bottle.
Never mind that, Steve. What happened?
I came to inside their ship.
Uh-huh. Steve, this whole thing has been a devil of a strain on you. I'm going to call Major Donaldson from the Army base. Ask him to sit in.
The psychiatrist? Yeah, that's a good idea. Let him run his tests. He'll tell you I'm not kidding. Because, Hank, unless I miss my guess, I've just been tipped off to the way the world ends.
All right, Mr. Weston, suppose you continue your story.
Yes, let's have it, Steve. You woke up inside the ship?
Yes, and the place was jammed with machinery. Dials, blinkers. I couldn't recognize anything.
And you were surrounded by these men from Mars?
I didn't say anything about men from Mars. I didn't even say they were men. I couldn't see them clearly. They were just there.
Where did they come from, then?
Another galaxy. Millions of miles outside of our solar system. That's all I know. You figure out where they came from.
And they came all that distance to find the Earth?
Yes.
Did they tell you that?
Yes.
You mean they spoke English to you?
No, they didn't. It's funny. I hadn't thought. They didn't really speak to me at all. They just planted the thoughts in my mind.
You mean thought transference, telepathy?
Yes, that's right.
Well, Steve, what brought them here?
We did, Hank. We rang their bell. We brought them in.
How?
With our atomic explosions. Hank, that's why you've got to stop that bomb test tonight.
I'll give up.
Look, you've got to believe me, Hank. Oh, how can I make you understand?
Maybe I can help, Mr. Weston. Would you submit to narcopsychometry?
What's that?
Under proper drugs, I can put you back in this, ship. By suggestion. Then we can get a playback record of your memory pattern on the audio circuit.
And how long will that take?
Half an hour. We'll have to go over to the lab.
Will you believe me if it checks?
It will give us an accurate memory picture of what your mind reports.
All right, let's go. Hank, you got to believe me. We haven't got much time.
You should be getting drowsy now. Count backwards from 10.
10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 6.
He's under. Now we attach the head plate electrodes. The cortical pickup. Look out for that wire, Mr. Henson. 3.0 setting. 31.3. Now throw that switch, Mr. Henson. I have to start him off by suggestion. All right, Steve. You're in your ship now. You're in the rocket. You're in the rocket. You're in the rocket. And you've just sighted something strange.
Now I'm starting at 3-degree right.
What's that?
Hey, there's something up here. Something shining.
His memory pattern. We're picking it up electronically.
There's something above me, Hank. I'm going to chase it.
It's piped through the audio circuits.
I'm getting static. I can't hear you, Hank.
This is where we lost contact with him.
I'm going to make a pass at it and... Hey, it's swerving to meet me. It's dead ahead now. It's dead ahead.
Now what?
This is where he blacked out. There's no telling how long, minutes or hours.
What's that noise?
I don't know. Quiet.
Where? How did I get in here? What? Who are you?
Is he seeing things?
Intergalactic Patrol? What's that?
What are they saying, Steve? What are they saying?
It's about nuclear fission. They know about it. They know the danger of it. Long ago, they had wars that almost destroyed them. But finally, they learned. Now they've outlawed war.
Go on, Steve.
They patrol space.
When their detector picks up an atomic explosion, they send a patrol.
What are they going to do?
They've quarantined us.
Quarantine?
They've isolated the Earth. Because we don't know how to control ourselves yet. Until we learn, we'll be a menace to the whole universe.
What is this nonsense?
Quiet. How are they going to do it, Steve?
They've spread a layer out here of... I don't know how to call it. All around the Earth. It's miles deep. When there's an atomic explosion on Earth, the radioactive particles will drift up to this layer and set off a chain reaction. It'll go around the world in microseconds. And that's the end.
The end? What's he...
Wait.
Yes. Yes. I understand. I've got to bring back the warning. You're going to put me back in my ship to bring the warning.
Now what?
Blacked out again. I guess that's all.
What does all that mean?
It's what he remembers.
Don't think that really happened.
No. Narcopsychometry circuits produce what he remembers. It just means that Steve believes this happened.
I don't like to see this. I've seen too many top pilots snap. Steve is the best I've known. How bad do you think he is?
Frankly, outside of the presence of this well-organized hallucination, there's no sign of unbalance. May not be too serious. If he had a more plausible story, I'd be inclined to believe him.
Warning. Hank.
It's all right, boy.
Did you hear it, Hank? You understand?
Sure. We've been quarantined.
Let me give you something to make you sleep, Steve.
Don't you understand? They fixed it so that if we set off one more nuclear explosion, that'll be it.
Of course. Don't roll your sleep down.
You don't believe me.
Now, take it easy, Steve.
But the test tonight. They're setting off the CR bomb. Hank, what time is it?
11:20.
Well, it's scheduled for midnight. Hank, we got to stop that bomb.
Steve, let Donaldson give you the hypo.
Hank, you've got to believe me. I saw them. I got the warning. If we touch off that bomb tonight, it'll be the biggest galactic 4th of July of all time. The whole Earth will go up like a Roman candle. April 10th, 1965, the end.
Now, look, Steve, you better calm down. Don't you want to see Mary and the baby? You've got a new son, remember?
Yeah, that's just it, Hank. I want to see my son. I want him to live. If that bomb goes off, Hank, we've got to stop them.
Mr. Hanson, I think we'd better get over to the base hospital.
Hank, you've got to believe me.
Sure, Steve. Maybe there is something to it. Look, it's out of your hands. I'll put it in a report and shove it into Washington in the morning.
In the morning? There isn't going to be any morning, Hank. Don't you understand? You've got to call Washington now. Get the head of the Security Commission and postpone that test.
Now, you know I can't do that, Steve. My neck would be out a mile. Besides, this is 1965, not 45. 20 countries have atomic bombs now. What's the use of stopping just this one? The rest will keep right on popping them
Well,
off.
we'll have to call an international conference. Can't you understand, Hank? The first one that goes off finishes us at the end. They've given us the quarantine warning.
Steve, I think you'd better go with us to the base hospital.
Look, Steve, we can call up for a detail if we have to.
All right. I'll go with you. You don't need a straitjacket.
That's the way, Steve. You'll probably feel better by morning. Let's go.
Well, Steve, tomorrow I'll drive you over to the hospital to see Mary and the kid.
Sure.
Look at the ship under the floodlights. Pretty, huh? You'll be flying her again soon, don't you worry.
Yeah, I guess so. What you doing out in the line? They fuel her?
Yeah, we got Clausewitz coming in tomorrow from Denver for another test. Figure we give you a day off.
That's good. That's...
Why? Steve, come back. Come on, Donaldson. Steve, wait. He's heading for the rocket. Look, there he goes up. That crazy fool. We can't get at him now. That covers armor glass. He's waving. Yeah, towards control. It's the radio. He needs the radio. Come on. I should have gotten help. The radio's still hooked up here. Hello, Steve.
Listen to me, Hank. You gotta call Washington now.
Come out of that rocket, Steve. I'll call my men.
Don't try anything, Hank. They've refueled the rocket for tomorrow.
Take it easy, Steve.
Listen, you know what'll happen when I fire the rocket tubes down here?
Steve, don't.
It'll burn out every building for 5 miles. All of us in one big blast.
Steve, what do you want?
You've got to stop that bomb. You got to call Washington right now.
They won't believe me.
You make that call or I cut in the rocket. Now, I mean it, Hank. Now, hook my screen to yours in parallel. I want to see exactly what you're doing.
All right. Just don't fire those rockets.
Get going, Hank. You got 12 minutes to make that call and stop that bomb.
All right, I'm making the parallel hookup right now. Donaldson, you think he'll really blast?
I don't know. Up to now, I'd almost say it was normal, but now he's liable to do anything, Hanson.
Steve, there, you getting it on your screen?
Yeah. Now put that call through.
All right.
Operator,
Visit screen to Washington.
the Visiscreen circuits are busy, sir. If you'll try again in half an hour.
This is Security Commission priority. Break in, get me a line.
Yes, sir. Just a moment, please.
10 minutes, Hank.
Listen, Steve, I'm trying.
We're ready to take your call, sir.
Washington, Security Commission 3. This is urgent. I want Undersecretary Herbert Ames.
Washington 3. 1 moment, please.
Hurry, will you?
1 moment, please.
What time is it, Donaldson?
11:51.
Do you think he'll fire those rockets?
He might.
Washington,
Visiscreen 3. Mr. Herbert Ames, please.
that is a coded exchange. I cannot accept your call without clearance.
Get it through, Hank.
Listen, Washington, put it through. This is Mr. Hanson at San Marco Air Base. This is a priority call. I'm coded.
1 moment, please. I will check your code number.
Get that through, Hank, and that bomb goes off at 12.
Will you be reasonable, Steve?
Your call has cleared, San Marco. Washington, Visiscreen 3. Herbert Ames, please.
Security Commission Ames.
Listen, Ames.
Hello, Hank.
Ames, you got to get me to the chief.
Are you kidding? He's at the test control room.
Yes, I know, but get him for me.
What's up? You look lousy. Or is it a bad circuit?
There's no time. I've got to get him before the test. It's about the CR bomb.
I can't take that responsibility.
Get that through, Hank, or I blast.
Hey, what's going on there?
Ames, my project has a high enough rating. This is a priority A call.
What? Okay, it's your neck. I'll try to get him for you. He's in the control room, so you'll have to switch off your screen and speaker and go on earphones. Too much going on in there. Security ruling.
You hear that, Steve? I've got to cut the incoming screen.
All right, but don't try anything. 8 minutes, Hank.
Hello? What?
You got him, Hank?
Yes. This is Hanson at San Marco. No, sir. Priority A request to cancel the bomb test. No, I'm serious. This is deadly serious. We sent the X2 JTR up today to the outer limit. We uncovered evidence. Yes, on the automatic instruments. What's that? No, possible chain reaction. No, I can't tell you the whole story. There isn't time here. Yes, I'll bring the readings into Washington in the morning. You've got to postpone the test till you see them. Look, I've worked on contracts for the Commission for 10 years. Yes, I have complete confidence in my information. You can record that. All right, I'll call you back immediately. Bye.
Hank?
He's agreed to cancel, Steve. The bomb won't go off. All right, boy. You can come down out of that ship.
He's opening up. Here he comes.
All right, Steve. Come on down.
Sure, Hank. Just a second. Hank, I was scared. I was plain scared.
Easy now. It's all over. The bomb won't go off.
Thank God. Now, look, I want to see Mary and the baby. Can you get me transportation now?
Oh, wait a minute. It's almost 12. They won't let you in the hospital now.
I want to see the baby.
Sure you do, but you've been under a strain. I've got a shot for you here, Steve. Give you a good night's sleep. All right. Roll up your sleeve.
Yeah, here.
There, that'll make you sleep. Sergeant will find you a bed.
Yes, sir. Come on, Mr. Weston.
Okay. Good night, Hank. I'm kind of beat. It's been a tough night.
It sure has. I thought for a minute he was going to blast those rockets and send us all to Kingdom Come.
Yeah.
Quite a stunt getting the ray bomb test called off.
It isn't called off.
But the chief said...
Ames couldn't get the chief. I was talking to a dead circuit. Bomb goes off in a couple of minutes.
Oh. Poor Steve. He was one of the best.
He was the best. 1 in 10 million.
Some story of his, poor guy. For a while, he almost had me believing that quarantine. That's a very common delusion. End of the world.
Yeah, I suppose so. It's a nice night. Never saw the stars so bright.
We better be getting in. That wind is cold.
Well, the bomb goes off in 30 seconds. Poor Steve.
You know, Hanson, there's just one thing.
Yeah?
It's outside my field, but I'm curious. How did he keep that ship in the air for 10 hours with only 10 minutes fuel?
You have just heard another adventure in time, space, and the unknown world of the future. The world of Dimension
And cut! All right. Great stuff, Mondo, great stuff. Now take off the Martian costume and put on the gorilla suit. The ape-man stalks at midnight isn't going to film itself.
The ape-man stalks at midnight. Yeah, Lenny, there's something I don't understand here.
What is there not to understand? Mondo's going to be playing the ape-man, so he's putting on a gorilla suit. Makes sense to me.
Well, no, I understand. I get the ape-man thing. I understand that.
You do?
What I don't understand is how you're making horror movies. I mean, all you've done so far is film Mondo flailing around in goofy Halloween costumes.
I suppose this does fall under horror, just not in the way you intended. This is more of a psychological thriller, a dive into the depths of a depraved mind. Huh? I'm insulting you.
Oh.
What I mean, Lenny, is how are you making a movie out of this? All you have is a couple of minutes of Mondo and silly get-ups.
Oh, that's easy. The monster scenes are the least important parts of monster movies. You can get all those out of the way in just a few minutes. See, you really just need one close-up shot of the monster for the ending climax. If you show it too soon, the audience will realize it's just a goofy costume and unsuspend their suspension of disbelief.
Okay, great, but what are you going to do for the rest of the movie?
Yeah, you've only shot Mondo so far.
Oh, don't worry. I got an actor coming in to film all the other scenes that have the characters in them and stuff. He works cheap, so I got him doing all the movies we're making.
You hired an actor.
Who on earth would...
All right, director, I'm ready for my big break. Lead me to stardom.
I don't know why I even asked.
Sydney, what are you doing agreeing to act in Lenny's movies?
What are you kidding? I got a kid on the way. Jamming their salary ain't gonna cut it for me anymore. Do you have any idea how much money actors make? With the amount of movies Lenny's putting out just in one day, I should be able to retire by this afternoon.
Sydney, only actors in real movies actually make good money. Lenny's movie mill scheme over here, it's not going to be raking in the cash you think it is.
Well, why not? You know, the drive-in market is big these days.
No, the drive-in movie market is not big these days.
Well, independent film studios can make blockbusters, and it's been known to happen.
Sydney, there's indie studios, and then there's filming 20 movies in an afternoon with 2 actors.
It's a low-risk, high-reward venture.
That's right, Sid. Don't listen to them. We're going to make you a star. Your kids are going to have college funds before you know it. Now get in front of the camera and start screaming.
Screaming?
Yeah, screaming. You know, it turns out I have the perfect horror movie shriek. That's why Lenny recruited me. I'll show you. It's got me! Ah! Run for your lives! Run for your lives! Neat, huh?
All right, while we plug our ears, here's the second half of our show, an episode of X-1. Please don't ever do that again.
Countdown for blast off. X-5, 4, 3, 2, X-1, fire. From the far horizons of the unknown come tales of new dimensions in time and space. These are stories of the future, adventures in which you'll live in a million, could be years, on 1,000 maybe worlds. The National Broadcasting Company, in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, presents X-1. tonight. At the Post by H.L. Gold.
When I come into the Blue Ribbon on 49th Street west of Broadway, I could tell right away nobody told Doc Hawkins about my misfortune. Doc, who ain't one really, writes a daily medical column for the Racing Form, and we're celebrating his being sprung from the alcoholic ward. He got one look at me, and he choked on a piece of gefilte fish.
What happened? What happened? Look at that. Clocker's become a character.
Now, lay off, Doc.
Look at that, a gray flannel suit, a black tie. Clocker, where is your purple and green check sports jacket? Where are your two-tone suede shoes? Why, you've become a character.
That was Zelda's idea. She wanted to make a gentleman out of me.
Wanted to? Why, you two kids got married just before they took my snakes away. Don't tell me you've fit already.
You don't know, Doc?
No, what happened?
Well, it was right after you tried to take the warts off the fire hydrant that Zelda started hearing voices. It got real bad.
How bad?
Well, she's at Glendale Center upstate. I just came back from visiting her.
Well, did the psychiatrist give you a diagnosis?
Yeah, I got it memorized. Catatonia dementia precox.
Oh, rough. Very rough. The outlook is never good in such cases.
Maybe they can't help her, but I will.
Now, Clocker, you're a race handicapper. You run the best tip sheet on Broadway. But people are not horses. You've got to think of your public. For instance, what's good at Hialeah, huh? My bar bill is about to be foreclosed, and I can use a long shot.
Those couch artists don't know what's wrong with Zelda. I do.
You do?
Well, almost. I'm so close I can hear the finish line camera clicking.
Well, now, that's very interesting. Perhaps we can collaborate on an article for the Psychiatric Journal.
All right, look. Look at these charts. Look, here.
Huh?
I use the same system I used to dope the races. Look, Zelda's got catatonia. She used to be a hoofer before we got married, and now she does time steps all day.
Stereotype movements are typical of catatonia.
You don't get it. She does time steps. The first thing you learn in hoofing, over and over. 10 or 15 hours a day. And she keeps talking like she's giving lessons to some jerk kid who can't get it straight. And I hear when these catatonics pull out, they don't remember much or maybe nothing.
Protective amnesia.
They work harder and longer at what they're doing than they ever did when they were regular citizens. And they don't get a red cent for it.
I beg your pardon?
I said they were getting stiffed. Anybody who works that hard ought to get paid.
I don't understand what you're getting at.
What are they knocking themselves out for if it's for free? Doc, I tell you, I miss that mouse. I gotta save her. She can't see or hear us, but she can sure see or hear something. And I'm gonna dope her.
Clarker, it's too much for you.
Too much for me, huh? Who was it said Warlock had turned into a dog in his third year? Who was it had 7 winners the opening day at Belmont? You take my word for it, Doc. I'll beat the schizophrenia handicap. I hadn't been paying much attention to my tip sheet while I was doping a catatonia dodge. I tell you, I missed Zelda. I missed the bobby pins on the floor and the nylon stuck on a shower rack, the toothpaste tube squeezed from the top. I had to get her back somehow. Next day, I took a cab and went out to that place. I sat in the room and watched her dance. Oh, it was something. Because Zelda was worth watching, even with her eyes blank and her feet shuffling through that simple time step.
Mr. Locke, visiting time is almost up.
All right. Zelda. Listen, Zelda. How long can they take to learn a time step?
She can't hear you.
Look, kid, I don't know who these squares are that you're working for, but tell them if they take you, they gotta take me too, you hear? I had an idea now. I had a dope that Zelda was showing them how to dance, whoever they are. And the only way I could spring her was to find out who was controlling her and what they were after. The first step was to get them interested in me, in what I know about racing, doping horses. So I stood there next to Zelda, and I started to talk. Now, the first thing you gotta figure is bloodlines. You take a horse, you gotta know back maybe 4 or 5 generations on both sides. Then you gotta know where the coat was foaled, what time of year, because all horses are 1 year old on the 1st of January. And there's confirmation, training. You take a horse with good bloodlines, break him in the spring on a hard training surface track, and the first thing you know, you got a horse with a shin splint. Or they may cover it up, but if you know it's there.
Mr. Locke,
I once knew a horse ran in Hialeah who was scared of flamingo.
What are you doing?
Had a fine record at Gulfstream and Bowie. But when he got down to Hialeah and got one look at the flamingos, he wouldn't run for beans.
Mr. Locke, are you all right?
Shut up, I'm
Mr.
busy.
Locke.
You bet on a horse that's scared of flamingos at Hialeah, and you're going to come in with your tail between your legs. I kept coming back every day. I'd just sit there next to Zelda while she did a time step, and I'd talk about horses over and over. And then finally, I started to hear voices.
Clocker! Clocker! This way, Clocker, come this way. This way, Clocker. Come on now, come with me.
Like it was a fog, I could see the attendant in his white coat, asking me questions, and I couldn't hear him. I knew I just kept on talking about the horses. And then suddenly I wasn't there. I was somewhere else. I was in a big square, and the buildings looked like the new Roosevelt Raceway, all modern. Or maybe like the World's Fair. There were trees and statues, and there were hundreds of people standing around, and they all looked scared. There was a little man with bifocals and a vest with pins and needles in it standing next to me. He looked scared. But I knew it had worked. I was on my way to Zelda.
How did I get here? Excuse me, mister. How did I get here?
I don't know.
I can't take time for pleasure trips. I've got a customer coming in tomorrow for a fitting. She'll positively murder me if her dress isn't ready.
She can't murder you. Not anymore.
You mean we're dead?
Don't ask me, but I don't think you're dead. That much I can tell you. Some of the people in the crowd were complaining they had families to take care of, while others were worried about leaving their businesses. And they all grew quiet when a man climbed up on a big platform in front. He was a very tall and dignified guy, and he had formal clothes and a white beard like the chief mourner at a politician's funeral.
Ladies and gentlemen, please feel at ease. You are not in any danger. No harm will come to you. If you will listen carefully to this orientation lecture, you will know where you are and why.
What is it? I don't understand.
It's a pitch.
Friends, I know you are puzzled at all this. Now let me explain. You've been chosen, yes, carefully screened and selected, to help us in what is undoubtedly the greatest cause of all history. You will learn more about it as we work together in this vast and noble experiment.
What experiment? What is it?
I got it picked. This is a pitch. These guys are out for something. Smells like a con.
Let me state this in its simplest terms. Now, you know that there are billions of stars in the universe and that the stars have planets. A good many of these planets are inhabited. In almost all instances, the dominant form of life is quite different from yours. I am not of your planet or solar system. I am not formed as you see me. My true appearance would seem to be rather confusing to human eyes.
Nuts, get to the point.
Truth is, we are not here, and neither are you. Here is a projection of thought, a hypothetical point in space, a place that exists only by mental force. Actually, our bodies are on our own respective planets.
What's he saying? What does he mean?
Wait, he'll give us the convincer after the build-up.
Our civilization is considerably older than yours. For many of your centuries, we have explored the universe both physically and telepathically, and during this exploration, we discovered your planet. We tried to establish communication, but there were grave difficulties. And it was the time of your dark ages. And I'm sorry to report that those people we did make contact with were generally burned at the stake.
Here it comes. He's getting ready to slip us the sting.
Oh, I don't think you ought to say a thing like that about a fine, decent gentleman. He's obviously very sincere.
The problem we face is that the human race is doomed. The history of your race is a record of incessant wars, each more devastating than the last. And now, finally, man has chained the power of worldwide destruction. The next war, or the one after that, would unquestionably be the end not only of civilization, but of humanity, perhaps even of your entire planet. Then why have we brought you here? Because man, in spite of his suicidal blunders, is a magnificent race. he must not vanish without leaving a complete record of his achievements. Now, this is the task we must work together on. Each of you has a skill, a talent, a special knowledge we need for the immense record we're compiling. Every area of human society must be covered. And so we need you urgently. Your data will become part of an imperishable social document that shall exist untold eons after mankind has vanished.
Oh, he had a slick con. He had that crowd in the palm of his hand like a small-time grifter selling pearl necklaces on 6th Avenue. They all cheered. They were all flattered to think that they were joining in this vast project to make a record of the human race. After a while, they broke us up into divisions, and I got herded into a building marked Sports and Rackets. They took my name and my occupation like I was applying for unemployment insurance.
Now, here's our problem, Mr. Locke. We're making two kinds of perpetual records. One is written, more precisely, microscribed. The other is a wonderfully exact duplicate of your cerebral pattern, in more durable material than brain matter, of course.
Of course.
The substance we use in place of brain cells absorbs memory quite slowly. But you'll be happy to know that the impression once made can never be lost or erased.
Delighted, tickled to pieces.
I knew you would be. Well, let's proceed, shall we? First, a basic description of horse racing.
I started telling them about horse racing, but they held me down to one sentence. They said I had to repeat it over and over so that recording thing could get it. They had a picture of my body back on Earth lying in a bed in a hospital just saying that one sentence over and over again.
Well, that's enough for today. Isn't it amazing? We have a more detailed record of human society than man himself ever had. Your life, my life, the life of this Zelda, whom you came here to rescue, all are trivial, for we must all die eventually. But the project will last eternally.
You telling me you know what I'm here for?
To secure the return of your wife. I would naturally be aware that you'd submitted yourself to our control voluntarily. It was in your file that was sent to me by admissions.
Then why did you let me in?
Because, my dear friend, we also...
Leave out the friend pitch. I'm here on business.
As you wish. We let you in, as you express it, because you have knowledge that we should include in our archives. We hoped you'd recognize the merit and scope of our undertaking. Most people do once they're told.
Zelda, too?
Oh, yes. Yes, Zelda's extremely cooperative, quite convinced. Would you like to see her?
Yeah, sure I would.
Well, that can be arranged. I'll call the Arts and Entertainment section and arrange a meeting.
Zelda, baby.
Clocker.
Let's get out of here.
Oh, hello, Clocker.
Aren't you glad to see me? I spent months and shot every dime I've got just to find you.
For sure I'm glad to see you, hon, but I can't waste any time. This work is so important.
I want to talk to you. That con artist with the white beard
said... isn't he wonderful, Clocker? Aren't they all wonderful? Regular scientists devoting their whole lives to this terrific cause.
What's so wonderful about that?
They could let the Earth go boom. It wouldn't mean a thing to them. Everybody wiped out, just like there never were any people. Not even as much record of us as the dinosaurs. Gee, wouldn't that make you feel simply awful?
I wouldn't feel a thing. All I'm worried about is us, baby. Who cares about the rest of the world doing a disappearing act?
I do, and so do they. They aren't selfish like some people I could mention.
Selfish? You're darn right I am. Zelda, listen. I'm selfish because I got a wife and I'm nuts about her and I want her back.
I have to help out on this project. It's the least I can do for history.
History? What did history ever do for us? Go turn in your time card, baby. Tell them you got a date with me back on Earth.
No, this is my job as much as theirs. More even. They don't keep anybody here against their will. I'm staying because I want to, Clocker.
But, honey...
Excuse me, I've got to get back. I'm teaching them the soft shoe now.
Are you satisfied now, Mr. Locke?
Listen, take away the doom push and his racket folds. Listen, suppose you're all square. Suppose you're leveling. You're knocking yourself out because your guess is we're going to commit suicide.
Wait, is there any doubt of it? Do you honestly believe the Holocaust can be averted?
I think it can be stopped, yeah. Listen, between these catatonics and me, we could tell them what it's all about. I notice you got people from all over the world here. They get along fine because they have a job to do and don't have time to hate each other. Well, it could be like that back on Earth.
Mr. Locke, we have experimented in the manner you suggest, but a human psychological mechanism defeated us.
Yeah? What was that?
Protective amnesia. They completely and absolutely forgot everything they'd learned here.
Well, what are the odds on me remembering?
Well, you are our first volunteer.
Look, I'll give you a deal. You let me out, and maybe I'll be the first case that didn't get amnesia, and I can tell the world all about this. I'll come back if I lame out. You can pick me up any time you want. But if I make headway, you gotta let Zelda go, too.
That's a very reasonable proposition. We'll lift our control, Mr. Locke, for a suitable time. If you can arouse a measurable opposition to racial suicide, measurable, mind you, then we agree to release your wife and revise our policy completely.
I came to at Glendale. It took me about 2 weeks to convince them that I was all right again. But I had to convince the world that they were throwing a race and that they needed a saliva test. So I started to write it all out in my tip sheet, in and around the horses. Around that time, I ran into Doc.
Clarker, my boy, you've no idea how anxious we were about you. But you're looking fit, I'm glad to say.
Thanks. I wish I could say the same about you and the rest of the world.
No need to worry about us. We'll muddle along somehow.
You think so, huh?
I'm glad to see you've got your tip sheet going again. As long as the bobtails run, who cares what happens to anything else?
Of course, nobody listened to me. I had posters printed telling everybody. I hired sandwichmen to walk through the city. I made speeches in Columbus Circle. I told everybody doomsday was near. I sent letters to Congress, to the UN, editors of newspapers. Nobody paid any attention. I sneaked into the balcony of the General Assembly and tried to shout a speech, and they threw me out, very politely. I wrote the whole thing up for a magazine, and they printed it and sent me a check and told me if I had any more fiction, they'd be glad to run it. They kept trying to tell everybody the truth about the catatonics. We ought to go to the hospitals and get ourselves let in and have the aliens take over and show us where we're going. But nobody would listen. And then finally, I went back out to Glendale.
Oh, Mr. Locke, we were wondering when you'd come visit your wife. You been away?
I want my old room back.
But you're perfectly normal.
Give me half hour alone, and you'll be glad to give me my room. Well, here I am back again.
Oh, Mr. Locke.
Okay, I'll give you all the rest of the dope on racing. You won't have any trouble with me.
Then you're convinced you failed.
I'm no dummy. I know when I'm licked.
So do we, Mr. Locke. Naturally, you have no way of detecting the effect you've had. We do. The result is that because of your experiment, we're gladly revising our policy.
Huh? Is this a rib? Nobody listened to me.
Oh, but they did. Visits to catatonics have increased considerably. When the visitors are alone with our human associates, they tentatively follow the directions you gave them in your article. Not all do, to be sure, only those who feel as strongly about being with their loved ones as you do about your wife. We've accepted 4 voluntary applicants.
You mean I made it?
That's right. Before long, we shall have to increase our staff as the numbers of voluntary applicants increases geometrically, and then we'll be able to release the first group to go back and carry the message. Whenever you care to, Mr. Locke, you and your wife are free to leave.
Okay, but I'll tell you what. I owe you plenty. I'll help make that record before I go. I'll teach you how to dope the horses. Is that what you want?
Why, yes.
All right, then let's go. The quicker we get started, the quicker we can get back.
You have just heard X-1, presented by the National Broadcasting Company in cooperation with Galaxy Science Fiction Magazine, which this month features A Touch of E-Flat by Joe Gibson, a story with a warning. Never let anyone point any weapon at you, even something as harmless looking as a water pistol. It may be a cooling gun. Galaxy Magazine on your newsstand today. Tonight, X-1 has brought you At the Post, a story from the pages of Galaxy written by H.L. Gold and adapted for radio by Ernest Kenoy. Featured in our cast were Frank Maxwell as the clocker, and Thomas as his time-stepping wife, Zelda, Arnold Moss as the otherworldly one, John Griggs as the doc who wasn't one, really, and Sam Raskin as the confused little tailor with his mouth full of pins. Your announcer, Fred Collins. X-1 was directed by Kenneth McGregor and is an NBC Radio Network production.
Welcome back to Yesterday Today. We're wrapping up our science fiction program today as Lenny continues his monster movie shoot.
Hold on, Jake. I think he and Mondo are having creative differences.
Look, me really just don't believe in the character here, the motivations of the frogman of Foggy Bog. Why is he even supposed to be attacking Sydney? It don't seem to be in his character.
Mondo, what are you talking about? He's a monster. Of course it's in his character.
Well, no, don't give me that. The fishman of Horror Beach, that was a monster. The frogman of Foggy Bog, he's not a monster at all. He really seemed to me more like to be a sensitive soul who is more misunderstood and less of a monster.
Mondo, come on. It's a monster movie. He needs to attack people.
No. Me will not go through with this. That's the final straw. Me cannot compromise me art by making the frogman of Foggy Bog some kind of horrible monster. That's it. Me is done. You can talk to me, agent, if you want to contact me from now on.
Mondo! Well, that's okay. We filmed enough monster scenes. We just have to finish up the scenes with Sydney.
Actually, Lenny, I probably should have stretched my vocal cords more earlier. I think I'm all out of screams for today.
Sid, no!
I'm sorry. No, I'm just not going to be able to do it.
This is going to set our production schedule way off track. We're going to go over budget. This could shut down our whole studio.
No, the humanity.
Hate to see it, Lenny, but filmmakers suffer setbacks all the time. You'll be fine.
Well, never stop dead wood.
This isn't a setback. This is a killer. There's no coming back from this. It's over. Shut it down. The studio is dead.
That's too bad. I know this has been your dream, Lenny, for about the last hour or so.
Oh, it's okay. I can still use these monster costumes to try to fake viral videos of Bigfoot sightings.
Well, now you're seeing the silver lining.
Me and my ape-man costume are off to the woods. See you later.
Hey, what about all these props lying around? Aren't you going to pick them up or any... Well, he's as elusive as Bigfoot.
If you want more Yesterday Today, visit KISU.org or wherever you get your scary, creepy horror podcasts.
Now the radio says, well, you better look out. Here come the little green men. And if they land in your backyard, then you better not let them in. But I just ignored my radio and I stepped out on...